you flying on the private jet or Southwest? There is a difference, you know. And today I'm going to show you how you can fly on the private jet all the time when you do this. But before I get going, hello my darlings, Tanya here from Rich Results Mindsets. I'm all about helping you master your mind so you can master your life. And today we're going to go deep around the differences between a private jet and Southwest, and it has nothing to do with the actual physical experience, but more what's going on in your state of being. So let me get going with this today. So the other day, was thinking about how often I end up on Southwest. And Southwest has a certain story about it, okay? Southwest, when you fly Southwest, there's a certain culture, a certain paradigm that you as a passenger have to comply with, right? It's a no-frills airline, right, where you're lucky if you get a drink, definitely no food except a little snack such as pretzels, and you pick your seat, and if you check in early enough, just when they open up check-in online 24 hours before, you may be able to get into the A zone where you board first. And then you have to, when you get on board, it feels a bit like cattle class, get on and pick your seat, and then let other people around you fill up the other empty seats. Okay, so that's Southwest. But on a private jet, you tend to, when you board at your own time. You don't have to go through any of the security at the big airports, and there's very minimal seating. The maximum might be, for example, 9 seats if you include the bathroom, and there's more space and more luxury, and definitely an opulent experience where you can literally order whatever you want, and the flight attendant is at your beck or call. In fact, you don't even have to have him or her. You can have the whole jet to yourself and not even worry about anyone else but yourself and whoever you're traveling with. Okay, so that's the difference between the two airlines, but I truly believe that we too can choose to either stay on the private jet all the time or stay on Southwest. But what happens is that our 5 senses get hijacked, right? Did you hear this? Did you say that? And we end up often traveling on Southwest most of the time. That's the analogy, okay? We often get caught up in other people's stories, okay? Other people's situations, what other people are saying to us, about other people, about the world, about life. And bugger this, we're on Southwest again in cattle class. And yet, you are only a decision away from being in the story of being on the private jet all the time. Despite what's going on around you, it doesn't matter. You can stay on the private jet in your hula hoop, in your story of magnificence, of, you know, being the person you've always wanted to be, living the life you've always dreamed of living. That is a state. It's a certain state, a feeling about it. And so you have to maintain it. And how do you maintain it? Well, this is where you become aware when you have slip states, and then you gently guide yourself back to that state. It's a way of being, and it in the beginning is very laborious. It is effort to stay there, but over time it becomes a habit to stay there more frequently. Because let's be honest, the outside world is very fickle, right? When you think about it, people, places, and things are constantly changing. right? Depending on how the wind blows all the time. You know, one day you'll catch up with a friend and they're in a bad mood. And then the next day you'll meet up with them again and they're in a good mood and they're feeling great. Meanwhile, you feel like a puppet on a string trying to bend to their reality, trying to adjust yourself in order to accommodate their current state of being. No more. You are not doing that. No more. You, and only you, get to decide which story you are going to be in and stay there despite what's going on. And I've actually experimented this when I've flown Southwest, because I live in Vegas and Southwest here is very popular. They have a hub here. So really I have to use Southwest for a lot of national travel because it seems to be the airline of choice with frequency out of Vegas. And I'm going to tell you, I have to get into that state of being on the private jet, right? I used to work for MGM out of Vegas on their private jet. So I have to constantly remind myself of what it was like working on their private jets, what it felt like when I used to passenger on their private jets to go and pick up guests. And even though I'm flying Southwest, I remind myself to stay in my imagination that helps me stay in the state. Okay, but it is work, because when I get on to Southwest, oh my God, there's so much convoluted energy and there's so many moving parts that you can't keep up. So I really have to use my will to concentrate on staying in my lane, staying in my story despite what's going on around me. And you can do the same. So I'm hoping that this analogy works for you, because I'm creating a picture in your mind of Southwest Airlines and the private jet. And even if you haven't flown private jet, you certainly can go and get pictures here on YouTube and images and of you being in that simulation. You literally can do that to get into the feeling of what that would be like. So I'd love to hear your comments. If any of this is resonating with you, drop them below. Oh, and if you any of my content is inspiring you or blessing you or motivating you, then please consider subscribing. Oh, and one more thing, just to let you know, I've opened up coaching. I have been in the receivership of many clients, and of course over time their tenure is coming to an end. So I have 3 spots left, just 3 spots left for anyone who would like to be part of my coaching world, where you can have a transformation rather quickly, because my intuition is so switched on, spot on, and always right. And I can give you some tips, tricks, but more importantly, some processes that you can use to master your mind so you can master your life. So I'll leave the Calendly link below. Jump on a call and we will see if it's a fit. Bye for now.